Hello, my name's Donna. I publish under DM Cameron, and this is my debut novel, Beneath the Mother Tree, which was published in 2018 by Midnight Sun Publishing. Thank you so much, WestWords, for inviting me on here. I'm very excited to talk about this book because it's so dear to my heart. It is set in the Quandamooka area where I grew up, which is the coastal fringe land between Brisbane and Logan River and all the islands on the Moreton Bay. So, of course, my book is set on an island, and it is a story that works on two levels. I wanted to write a page-turning murder mystery, coming-of-age love story on one level, and on another level, I wanted to explore the effects of colonisation. I had no idea about the history of the Quandamooka area when I was growing up. It wasn't until I started research for this book that I found out about all the massacres that occurred in the area. And it took on a whole kind of Gothic element. There's Irish mythology explored in the book as well. One of the myths is the myth of the Far Dorocha, which is a dark-haired man, a handsome dark-haired man who plays a flute. But, however, if you follow him, he's actually the Dark Lord for the Faery Queen, and before you know it, you're never seen again. So the opening of the book starts on the beach when Ayla, the young protagonist, hears this incredible flute music. So I'm just going to read you the opening pages and you can make up your own mind. Okay, Beneath the Mother Tree. On the wind, Ayla heard a tune so sweetly mournful it made her toes curl in the sand. Had she imagined it? She glanced behind her to see the world had turned a sickly green. Even the rich red of mud rock was tinged. The pied cormorant's heart pounded against her wrist through the stained pillowcase. She placed its webbed feet gently on the shoreline, uncovering the head last. Freed, the bird skidded up the deserted beach. The only remaining sign of its ordeal with fishing line was a featherless patch on its curved neck. Go, Buster! Ayla knew not to name rescued wildlife, but a name always came. Buster opened his yellow beak and cried at the sky, at the injustice, before uncurling his oily blackness to glide over the water and behind the headland. Bye, Buster. Even my voice sounds green, she thought as she heard it flop onto the sand. She looked down to see her voice had turned into khaki seaweed, faded and brittle. She stood on it, imagining vocal cords crunching underfoot. The stench of rotting seaweed clung to the roof of her mouth. Moving out of the sinister shadow of the rock, she saw the source of the strange coloured light was the sun, caught behind boiling black clouds miles out to sea, the storm that passed over earlier still lingering. A ripple came across the water, reaching the shoreline as a breeze, filling the air with electricity. Her hair stood on end as the eerie music came again, twining itself around her, drawing her up the beach into the pig face, its feathery flowers closing on the day. A thrill coiled through her as she followed the melody into the trees, creeping as lightly as soldier crabs scuttle across sand. She paused in the thick stand of bent she-oaks. He was sitting, his bare back to her, on a dead banksia in the clearing, a strange wooden flute dancing in his hands. The colour of his jeans blended with the faded log, so he became part of the tree. The spirit of the old banksia, perhaps. Ayla enjoyed the fantasy, peering through the she-oak's prickly curtain at his hair, so black it looked blue in the sun. He turned his face to the sky, and she saw it was a gentle profile. His music reached out, took her by the hand, and she danced with him in her mind. He stopped, flute poised, staring toward her clump of trees. Ayla merged with the she-oaks she had known since childhood, when she had rested on their horizontal trunks bent by the wind, murmuring her grandfather's stories. The stranger's dark eyes were unblinking. He blew one low solitary note. She felt the ends of her hair split. Was it the music or the eerie green light that was so bewitching? She considered stepping into the clearing, but backed away, stumbling onto the beach. Where the sand was wet and firm, she danced, eyes shut to let her body connect with his rhythm, slow, deep, divine. She lost herself in the pulse of him. He paused. She ran. leaping on the tide line to notes on the wind, then running again for sheer joy along the empty beach. Who was he? Where had he come from, and why was he here on her little island in the middle of the wild old sea? And it goes on. Anyhow, hope you enjoy Beneath the Mother Tree. If you ever get a chance to read it, I would love that. Thank you so much, WestWords. Bye.